latest development of the political crisis in Maharashtra. Now, big news coming in that the Shiv Sena has issued a whip to MLAs to attend a meeting at Varsha, the residence of Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, at 5 p.m. today. And the whip says, and I quote, if you don't attend the meeting, it will be considered that you want to leave the party from its primary membership, and as a result, there will be action of disqualification initiated against you as per provisions of the law. This is what the Chief Whip has said clearly. Digging its heels in is the Shiv Sena at this point, not sparing anyone rebelling within the party. At this point, it seems like they want to stand stern. They don't care if they stay in power or not, but they're not going to tolerate anti-party activities. That's the statement that they're somehow trying to project through the Chief Whip, who's issued a direction to all its legislators to be part of this high-level meet at Varsha, the Chief Minister's residence, at 5 p.m. The letter issued by Chief Whip Sunil Prabhu clearly directs all of the legislators of the Shiv Sena to be in full attendance. And if you don't, then the party will take strict action. We will assume that you want to leave the party. As a result, there will be action of disqualification initiated against you as per provisions of the law. These are precise words said by Chief Whip Sunil Prabhu in his letter issued to Shiv Sena MLAs. Remember, at least 36 odd MLAs currently stand with rebel leader, the Shiv Sena minister, who's broken away and in a late night chartered flight taken all his rebel MLAs to Guwahati. He's currently stationed there. In the last meeting that happened yesterday, though, in Mumbai at Varsha, Uddhav Thackeray's residence, barely 17 MLAs attended. Today, what's going to be the head count? Will there be more MLAs who will be coming in or showing up? Do they not want to disappoint Uddhav Thackeray at this point? We know in the latest that a couple of rebel MLAs have come back to the fold of the Shiv Sena. Will there be numbers for the Shiv Sena now to boast of, or is the situation slowly slipping away from the hands of the Shiv Sena? Of course, time will tell. In just about a bit, about 5 p.m. is when a key meeting is called for. To all the Shiv Sena MLAs, a Chief Whip has sent out a letter directing them to be in attendance. Let's cut across to reaction on this. Right, so here what we see in our visuals on our screens on the left-hand side, you see most of the rebel MLAs who are currently lodged at a resort in Guwahati. They've taken a chartered flight late last night, not taking any chance, not being close to Maharashtra in any way, not allowing even a chance for any Shiv Sena leader to come by and try and pacify any of the rebellion camp or the members, the dissidents who are with Eknath Shinde. In an attempt to completely separate them from the Maharashtra leadership, Eknath Shinde has taken his entire battalion, shifted base to Guwahati, another BJP-ruled state of Assam. And then you have Hemanta Biswa Sharma, the BJP High Command strong man. They have reposed faith in him time and again. He ensured security, visited that resort in Guwahati and ensured that things were arranged much in advance before these dissidents from the Maha Vikas Aghadi government arrived into his state. It seems like the stage is set. So far, the BJP has denied any communication with the Shiv Sena dissidents. But it seems like with the way the script is playing out, all the way from the rebels arriving in Surat, Gujarat, which is a BJP-ruled state, and then moving from Gujarat to Assam, Guwahati, another BJP-ruled state, so far it appears that there is a BJP stamp all over this script that's now playing out. Of course, the BJP allowing for the Shiv Sena to implode in itself before taking its move. They've already, it's a case of once bitten, twice shy. Clearly, the BJP not jumping its gun, not wanting to arrive at a conclusion as yet. They're waiting for the numbers, they're waiting for a real implosion to build up to a point when they'll possibly react. So far, what's all the more detrimental at this point for the Shiv Sena is that Uddhav Thackeray is said to be positive for COVID-19. The Governor Koshyari is also positive of COVID-19. Will this stall all these political developments? Will this be a blessing in disguise, or will this come as quite detrimental for the Shiv Sena at the moment? Looking at the crisis only building up, it seems like solution so far is nowhere in sight for the Shiv Sena, for Uddhav Thackeray. It appears that the situation is clearly slowly slipping away from his hands. Enough and more political analysts concluding that this possibly could mean spell doomsday for the Shiv Sena. With over 35 MLAs joining the rebel camp with Eknath Shinde, it seems like there is no solution in sight as yet for Uddhav Thackeray. The only way out possibly is if a bunch of the rebellions or the dissidents come back to the Shiv Sena's fold, which is under Uddhav Thackeray, or if at all the governor agrees for a dissolution of the assembly. Of course, the options are open, but by all means it looks like the end is closing in for Uddhav Thackeray and his government at this point. And what's very interesting to note also at the moment is that the NCP as well as the Congress party, both of them not on board when it comes to a decision to dissolve the assembly, which it appears Shiv Sena has been increasingly pushing for. They're still toying with the idea on dissolving the assembly, but will that be allowed or not, that remains to be seen. But clearly the NCP and the Congress not on board with those plans. NCP chief Sharad Pawar has very clearly stated that he'd rather sit in the opposition, wait for this tenure to complete before they fight back again in measure the next assembly election. But doesn't seem like Uddhav Thackeray at this point wants to give in so easy. Sena MLAs now, most of them who have been called in to Uddhav Thackeray's residence at 5 p.m. We're going to wait and see if they're going to be appearing and will they come in numbers. This today, the meeting at 5 p.m. will really define exactly what would be the situation for the Shiv Sena and the Maha Vikas Aghadi government. The status, what will be the real status? Will they be able to continue? Do they have the numbers or not? Today's meeting at 5 p.m. will really define the fate and the destiny for the Maha Vikas Aghadi union. So far, so long, there have been allegations that this is an unlikely alliance, unholy alliance, the Shiv Sena, the NCP and the Congress, all of them having absolute stark differences in ideology, and despite that, they did come together to form a government of Maharashtra, which now Eknath Shinde calls an attempt by Uddhav Thackeray only to grab power. And that, it appears, seems to be his primary reason to pull off from his own party, the Shiv Sena.